So I just kind of went to get up and I spotted these feathers here. Got another one here. Not entirely sure what they belong to. But yeah, sometimes you find really good feathers. At the house the other day I found a little blue jay feather that I'm keeping. These are kind of tore up a little bit, so I'm gonna leave them here. But yeah, find all kinds of pretty things out here. And this little area here is where I say not just this little branch of this creek, but just this whole creek area is where I found the stone that I use for sharpening. See, out here we have a lot of flint rock, and that's what the majority of all this is. That's why it's so white. Now there are some other types of rocks. I'm not entirely sure what they are entirely, but you do have rocks like this, which have a little bit of a redder tone, and like the stone I use for sharpening, that also has a very rich kind of rust color. I'm almost positive it is flint with some iron oxide kind of impregnated in the stone. There's a pretty fish. I don't know if you can see that. But yeah, like this one here, almost the same color as the stone I use for sharpening. At least this side is. But it is not quite flat enough to get a sharpening stone out of without napping it, and I'm not very good at napping. I got a cousin who's pretty stinking good at it, but I've always just worked with wood, so I'm not much of a stone or metal worker myself. This is pretty flat, but it feels very porous, so I imagine it's probably sandstone. It doesn't have the same weight to it, or the solid, smooth feeling that flint usually has. But yeah, I like to come out here whenever I have time. I have a little bit of time today, so I have my fishing license at the moment, unfortunately. Else I would be fishing, but so I just come out here to be by the river, or the creek rather. This is a place where I spend a lot of time. This whole creek here, a lot of time out here growing up fishing from a family. We didn't always have food, so we'd come out here and catch a pail of fish and then hike it back to the house. We'd eat some of it that day and freeze the rest, and then through late fall, winter, and early spring, we'd eat what we had of the frozen fish. So yeah. This is where this little creek branch comes from. Just this little mouth here feeds into there. It's really neat to learn about like the fluid dynamics and such. This water, it's moving, but it ain't moving really fast. And you have this here, which is just a really small, thin area. And you can see most of these rocks are more than 1.5 inches under the surface of the water, yet they're still causing ripples because this water is moving fast enough for it to influence it. And it keeps that speed all the way to here, where it dumps into this, which is much wider, so the speed just immediately slows down. It's really neat. I've always enjoyed stuff like that myself. Just watching how water acts and reacts. Like this here, it narrows down right there. We actually got just a little bit of white water. It's not really rapids because, you know, it's not deep enough. Or, I mean, I guess you could technically call them rapids probably. But it's just a pretty little thing. It's neat to look at, and I enjoy learning about stuff like that, and it makes pretty features. You can actually see another cool thing right, let's see, right there. That lighter spot is where, because this is flowing faster here, it is constantly moving and overturning these rocks and pushing them downstream. And because of that, it doesn't have the moss buildup and algae and everything that the rest of the creek bed has, because it's being stripped away and also dug out. So that there is probably, I want to say, 1.5 feet deep, while right where these leaves and such are is probably only about 2 inches at the deepest, and that's 3 foot apart, just because of how the water likes to flow, and just something I enjoy myself. I don't know, I might be a little bit of a simple person to enjoy such things, but you know what? I don't mind that rightly. Being able to find simple things to be happy about and to enjoy and to love, to appreciate something that makes it a whole lot easier to carry on through life, you know? Just enjoying nature. Something I'm very thankful that I've always had a love for nature. It's a bit hot in the day right now, so there's not rightly anyone out here, just me. But once the temperature drops, there'll be a whole lot more people out here. People mainly from around here. It isn't a super well-known spot, thankfully. Mainly it's just the folk who live around the area, you know, these little parts. There's actually a really neat trick you can, if you have, I don't believe we can do it very well here because we don't have a lot of dirt. I mean, everything's just rock. Even you look over there, there is, you know, of course you do have dirt, you have the plant life that's growing through it, but there's a ton of rock in it. It breaks up the dirt, so like on the creek bed, on the shoreline, most of the dirt is stripped away. But if you have enough dirt, you can dig what's called a coyote well, which is, you go about 2 feet, just like that, right about here, from the edge of your creek, and you dig down below the water level, because this creek, it doesn't just stop here, it flows all the way back through here under the ground. And so you dig all that down and then let it fill up. And if there's enough dirt and minerals, it will act as a natural filter, and you'll filter out most of the parasites and junk that's in the water. And if you're in a pinch, you can drink it without doing nothing to it. If you have purification tablets or something, you can do that, or you can just boil it. Boiling is usually my preferred method, but you know, it is what it is. And I've drank out of this water here. It's not the best. It does give you a pretty stout stomach ache. One of the days we hiked out here as kids, we didn't bring enough water, and so me and my cousin had to drink a little bit out here before the walk home. But yeah, just a pretty place. I enjoy it out here. It's beautiful. Yeah, I just wanted to share this with people. It's something I love, and I think other people should frankly find places of nature around them and learn to enjoy it. There's a very simple beauty to it. Yeah. Of course, we got the downed trees. Every time we get a heavy rainfall, all this floods, and sometimes it rips out trees, drops them in places like this. It can be a little dangerous in the deeper spots, especially if you're kayaking. Got a friend who almost drowned. He got sucked up under one while he was kayaking. But I hear they're not too dangerous as long as you're keeping a watch on your kids. Anyhow, I think I'm going to end the video here. I gotta get back to it.